All right, welcome to what we're going to call episode 44. Hey, of the Athletic Philosopher podcast. We are moving on up in the world, team. I am your humble host, Jordan Goldstein, former university professor in sport philosophy, history, sociology, psychology, did a little bit of work on hockey, did a little bit of work on golf, did a little work on pissing off the administration by not following their rules. So now we don't do the university thing anymore. We are all the way into life coaching and fitness coaching intertwined in my own style. Got some interesting news on that coming up soon, but also moonlighting as the tribal professor, endurance training coach on tribal training. And I am here to talk to you today about running and thinking. That's right. I got this question probably more than I would care to admit, and also kind of, I don't even know, makes me a little bit sad to get this question so often. So I think I want to address it, and I want to swirl around, and let's see what kind of an ending point we come to. It's likely going to be right back at the start now, isn't it? But the question is pretty simple. Like, what do you think about when you run? What do you think about when you run? Like when you tell people, oh, like I'm a distance runner or I'm an endurance coach, they start asking you a whole bunch of different questions. Oh, so what do you mean by like a long run? And, I'll just casually mention, yeah, usually my long training runs are half marathons on the trails with 1,000+ feet of elevation. People, to them, that's like way too long. And it's not so long in terms of like the effort, but it's so long to be by yourself, like without distraction, without stimulation, without some sort of thing to take your mind off of the thing you're actually doing, which your mind should realistically be attuned to the thing you're doing. But most people, when they think about exercise and the thoughts that come into their mind, when they are exercising, it's usually like, this hurts, this sucks, this needs to end, I want to stop. And so most people are conditioned to insert things into their mind to stop that thought process. I am somebody who does not, especially when I'm out running. And I want to take today to just simply talk about what are the kinds of things that go through your mind. And in a way, what I'm now hoping, this is sort of emerging in real time, what I'm hoping anybody who's listening gets from this podcast are some mental strategies on how to utilize our own brains in order to keep us from quitting, or in another way, to maintain a high internal standard of performance without external aids and without external motivation. So how do we bring the best of ourselves? How do we bring our integrity to our efforts effectively? Like, how do I bring integrity to a training run? How do I bring integrity to a race? And I believe that one of the ways we can bring integrity is to strip away the external distractions and motivations and use the empty space of the effort to hone in on the internal signal, right? That is so often drowned out by all the noise of the day-to-day. So I think that's what's happening here. That's what we're going to go with. Let's go. All right. So I get this question far too often. What do you think about when you run? And immediately off the top of my head, there's 3 things that come to mind. 1, anything I want. Anything I want. Number 2, the actual effort. Number 2, the actual effort. And then number 3, nothing. Nothing. So we've got whatever I want, we've got the actual effort, and we've got nothing. Sometimes it's all of them at once. So thinking about what I think about when I run, whatever I want. I have this long-standing belief about the mental role of exercise. You hear this all the time with people. I go to the gym for my mental health. The gym is my therapy. Going for a run is my therapy. My running shoes are my therapist couch. Okay. I'm not a big believer in that. I'm a believer that if you are actively looking for therapy, what you're looking for is the solving of problems. You're looking for the solving of problems that are internally located within yourself, somewhere within like your thought patterns or like your willpower. There needs to be some type of an explicit communicating element to this. Like this is the coaching for me, right? For me, there's a symbiotic relationship between the training and the therapy that can come out of the training, but without explicit communication, like going for a run doesn't just solve your problems, okay? It doesn't solve your problems. So it's not actually therapy. But people are on to something. People are on to the space. People are on to the void. Shout out Murakami. This kind of episode is loosely inspired by, the title of Haruki Murakami's incredible autobiography on running and writing. What I talk about when I talk about running, this is like what I think about when I'm running, or what I think about when I think about thinking of running, something like that, right? But one of the lines that always stands out to me, I've read this book like 6 times. I've led a book club on the training team with this book. It's a book that I tell a lot of my coaching clients, you need to read this one. Especially if they're interested in doing any kind of an endurance event that involves running. But just more so for like the mindset of how we want to utilize physical practice as a vehicle of self-knowing, self-learning, self-discovery, and then ultimately self-mastering. And Murakami puts it so beautifully. I run to acquire a void. Like I run to acquire a void. I run to acquire space. I run to acquire a vacuum. I run so that the things that are overburdening me and overbearing on my day-to-day life dissolve into the nothingness, right? And whatever then can emerge may be a little bit more authentic or genuine to myself, right? And Murakami, he's a novelist. So this entire running book is sort of intertwined with writing and creativity and physical stamina and endurance. And it's just brilliant. It's just a brilliant book. If you haven't read it, buy it, go read it. Don't do the audiobook thing. Skip the audiobook. Go right to the hard copy because you're going to be rereading this book forever once you get your hands on it. So get a real copy. Do the actual reading. Audiobooks don't count. Sorry, guys. So I run to acquire a void. This is what people are picking up off of when they talk about exercise as a space for mental health. But it's not the therapy. It's more like meditation. It's more like emptying out the static, right? So that the frequency, like the signal, can be heard. Like when you're talking about meditation, we're trying to find enlightenment, right? We're trying to find this inner space of alignment, harmony, and peace. And we can only do that in stillness. And meditation, if you're doing it properly, it's not about not thinking. Like, that's ridiculous. How do you not think? It's more about detaching from thoughts. It's more about allowing thoughts to move through, like clouds on a windy day in the sky. They're just passing through. But through the passing through of these thoughts, some of them may stand out a little bit more. Some of them may be highlighted. Some of them may seem to come back over and over and over again. And that's kind of your sign of, oh, shoot, that's the signal. Like, that's the thing I'm missing. That's the thing I'm not aware of. That's the thing that's concealed by the day-to-day, by the distractions, by the noise of the world and of my general life. So exercise has the ability to block out the distractions and allow you to acquire the void to find the signal. And this is powerful meditative practice. It's not therapeutic, it's meditative. But what the space can lead to in terms of a therapeutic response is looking soberly, looking dispassionately, looking objectively at the problems, detaching the emotion, detaching the bias, and seeing things a little bit more clearly so that you can then go and solve the problem with more confidence, more clarity, and more assuredness of the righteousness of your path. Right? So exercise as meditation can lead to therapy, but it's not therapy. So when I am out thinking about anything I want, that's what I'm doing. I'm not writing down a list saying, oh, I really want to think about this on the run, and now I have the space to do it without distraction. It's, I'm just going to start running. And whatever pops into my mind. Oops, sorry, I'm so bad with the Bluetooth. I literally just get messed up on all my calls with the Bluetooth. Sorry about that, guys. We don't do edits on this podcast. We just flow. So that's like what I mean when I say I think about whatever I want. It's not really whatever I want. It's whatever comes to me in the void that I acquire by going out into nature, especially trail running, but it happens on the road too, without distractions. So one of the things that I never do is I never have earphones. I never have music. I never have a podcast. I never have an audiobook going through my mind because I want the void. I want the void so that the things that don't get a chance to come to the forefront have a chance to emerge. And things that I'm not necessarily attuned to consciously can be subconsciously brought up, right? A lot of what I do in a coaching sense is to get people's conscious minds and subconscious minds to link up and spiral up in a positive feedback loop together. Like when your conscious thoughts are aligned with the subconscious undercurrent and they're pointing you towards your potential and the things that you care about and are passionate about and you're talented in and you're interested in and you have enthusiasm in, you get to ride up. You get to ride the exponent up. Everybody kind of understands the negative. Like when my subconscious and my conscious are not aligned, I feel disoriented. I feel confused. I feel chaotic. I feel like there's something that is not quite aligned within me. There's no harmony. There's no peace. But also the conscious and the subconscious can link together negatively. And a lot of people know what that feels like. A lot of people know what it's like to spiral down out of control, where something inside of you is not feeling correct. Like you feel, I don't even know. It's like just negative, bad, sad, angry. And then you consciously make the actions and take on the attitudes that give space to those feelings and those emotions. So letting the subconscious breathe through the void of running is one of the most valuable things of running. And this is what I don't think about it, but this is what powers the thinking. This is what powers the thinking. And like, what'll I then think about? Well, almost anything. I'll think about what I got to do after the run. I might think about some work I did before the run. But oftentimes that just sort of like dissipates. And then I start thinking about more broader things. Oftentimes about parenting. I'll think about philosophical concepts. I will try to solve issues in work. If I'm trying to create a course or something, which is what I'm trying to do now, this is a really important space for ideas to emerge and for synthesis to occur. I'll think about my family. I'll think about friends. I'll think about upcoming races. I'll think about anything, realistically. So what do I think about when I'm running? Whatever pops into my mind because I'm giving it the space. Okay. Number 2, the effort. Sometimes you really just got to pay attention to what you're doing, guys. Like if I'm on a run, I should be thinking about running. I should be thinking about my pacing. I should be thinking about how I'm feeling. I should be thinking about my foot striking. I should be thinking about the path. I should be thinking about bystanders. I should be thinking about potentially animals, depending on if I'm on a trail or not. I want to think about the duration of the effort. I also want to improvise. Like, I'm somebody that will give myself a little bit of leeway on in training. So let me just take Sunday, for example, like my Sunday long trail run. I didn't have an exact number in mind, but I knew that it was not going to be a big one relative to me. The week before I went out to Wisconsin for Father's Day, I did this gigantic 20-mile training run out on the trails, climbing 2,500 feet. It was my biggest training run of all time that I've ever done solo. It's 3 hours and 11 minutes. It was hard. It was awesome. But that means, like, the next Sunday, I'm not coming back and just doing my standard long run. I kind of want to dial back a little bit. So I was playing around with some numbers in my mind, like 90 minutes, 10 miles, 11 miles, an hour and 40 minutes. Like, I have a couple of loose targets in my mind, but I'm waiting for like mile 1 and mile 2 to pass so I can figure out and feel my body. So if I'm thinking about the effort, sometimes I'm actually thinking about, like, well, how long is this effort? How much am I going to push? What's this gonna be like? Did the same thing for my run on Monday. I don't know what day of the week it is usually. Monday, where I went, and this was my third day of running in a row, third day of running in heat, and I'm doing it fasted. It's in the afternoon. It's in the hot of the day. The only thing I know is, like, I want to run, I want to sweat, and I want to jump in cold Lake Michigan right after. So I'm running down this road, but I don't know exactly, like, how far I'm going to go or how fast I'm going to push until, like, my feet set out. Like, running 3 days in a row, your legs get sore, you get tired. I'm not interested in injuring myself, but I also know that I need to train on tired legs, so I'm trying to find the balance. Trying to find the balance between, proper training and overtraining. And so, I have the same idea. I've got loose ideas, something like 4 to 6 miles, maybe 7 miles, something like 45 minutes to an hour. It's really hot. You don't want to get dehydrated and get muscle cramps. And, for the first couple miles or so, I'm literally just assessing my body. I'm assessing the feel, and I'm assessing what that potential of the run is. Now, like, once I determine what the run is going to be, sometimes I already know before I leave. Sometimes it's like a mile or two into the run. I actually, all right, this is the run. Then I want to go to execution. And generally, if it's like a more speed-oriented workout, I'm not somebody who's interested in the meditation anymore. I'm interested in, like, all right, we're inside. I'm inside the effort. Now I'm focusing on the pain, like the cardio burn, like the cardiovascular burn. Focusing on my legs, where they might be sore, where they might be losing power. I'm thinking about my arms. I'm thinking about everything because I want to be inside of the activity. I want to be directly inside of the activity. It's the idea of soft vigilance. Which is a great concept from Dr. John Vervaeke. And soft vigilance is effectively like when I am struggling on the run. Let's say my left quad is starting to hurt. I begin to take attention off of my quad by putting my vigilance, soft vigilance, into some other part of my body. So I might start to notice my ankle, and I might start to notice, oh, my right ankle is a little looser than my left ankle. Let me see if I can start manipulating my foot strike on my left ankle, right? So that it's starting to feel a little bit more loose and flowy, like my right ankle, which means I'm going to have to start stepping on this part of my foot. Okay, now how is my foot feeling now that I'm stepping more on this part than not? Okay, that's leading me to now think about, like, maybe my Achilles and my calf or my shins. And all of a sudden, I don't even remember the fact that my quad was hurting. And I'm starting to do these body scans, and I'm thinking, how's my breath? Is my BPM going up? Is it going down? Another thing about thinking about the effort is I rarely look down at my watch to calibrate. Things that I look at on my running watch to calibrate my effort. How far have I run? How long have I run? And how fast is the pace? Generally speaking, I don't even care about the pace, but it's like, how far have you run? And every mile I'll get a ding on how fast the mile is, and sometimes I'll decide to look down at that number. Sometimes I won't. It kind of just depends. But it's part of this idea of free flow. Just as I like my thoughts to be meditative, I kind of like the thoughts about the effort to also be meditative, and not to obsess about one part, but to allow kind of the salient features of the present effort, wherever I am in that effort, to direct my thoughts. So thinking about the effort, it's really thinking about any part of the physical act and how you're going to sustain it. And sometimes that's like the entire run. Sometimes that's only part of the run. But it's certainly something that is there. Actually, and sometimes it's never part of the run. Sometimes it's like, I know the start, I know the finish, and I don't want to think about running. I just want the feet to go. And that's like a pure meditation at that point. So another thing to notice about like what I'm thinking about when I'm running is it's a little bit of a here and then there, here and then there, here and then there. Okay? So I'm actively thinking about things that are popping into my mind. I'm actively thinking about the effort. And then number 3, I'm not thinking at all. Like, I'm not thinking. And that's not like I'm distracted. It's more like I'm so absorbed in the present moment that thoughts don't exist. Like, the body, the mind, and the spirit have combined. So the thought is the action. The action is the thought. The motion is the thought, right? The anticipation of the next foot strike, that's the thought. Like, the mind effectively can shut itself off. One of the ways I can tell that I'm in this sort of state is being put into an almost like out of body experience. Like, you start to float above yourself and notice. You notice that you're running. You notice the way you look on the trail, weaving in and out of the trees on the forest. You notice how you look, right? You're not thinking, you're just doing, right? And you're so ensconced and absorbed in the doing that the brain just melts right into the body, which melts right into the spirit, which melts right into the brain, which melts into the body. Like, and then you don't really necessarily have a clear distinction of like where one part of you is starting and where the other one is ending, because you're totally alive in this embodied process of total absorption, total presence. Now, a time when I'm not thinking is when I'm going all out. Like, if we're sprinting, I'm not thinking about no sprints. I might think for 1 second about like foot striking, but after that, it's more just go. It's more just running up a hill is definitely like this too. And so having nothing to think about is great. Detaching. Maybe it's not so much detaching as it is properly integrating the disparate parts of me, which are also the same, when we're thinking about this embodied conception of mind, body, and spirit intertwined, as a description of me, a flesh and blood human being. So we've got 3 things to think about: anything, the effort, and nothing. Now, this is a quick one because I am up against it in terms of calls and my own training and can't pick up, and we're just trying to get touches here. But I do think that there's an incredible value in understanding the way the mind operates when we are involved in a hard physical effort. Because the mind, right, the mind's a shortcut machine, and the shortcut effectively wants us to quit when it comes to exercise, right? It's why do it? Why push harder? Why bother with the effort? So the more we can understand ways to tune our brains to think of other things other than the thing it naturally wants to think about, which is quitting and the fact that this hurts and this sucks and I don't like it, the better we're able to endure, the better we're able to persevere, the better we're able to bring resilience and fortitude and grit and determination and ultimately integrity to our efforts. And integrity is such a big time word. That's just such a big time word. doing things to a high standard because it's the right thing to do. So that's why we want to know about thinking, the thoughts, and the ways in which exercise puts our brains into these interesting places where it thinks it's kind of in between a rock and a hard place, but really it's just like a hard place and another hard place. And we like both those hard places. So, takeaway advice for you, the beautiful listener. Number one, no distractions. Like, I get it. When I am at home and I pick up my steel club or my steel mace, I kind of want something to help me find groove. So I'm usually playing music, right? I get it. But this is not the thing I do all the time, right? There are some activities that I don't require that. And the activity itself interests me enough, gets me enthused enough, and makes me want to pay attention to it, okay? So no distractions, number one, but not in the way that is like a punishment. Oh, I'm doing this thing I don't like, and you're taking away the thing that helps me get through it. Now I'm going to be super hard. It's not like that. It's more the opposite. It's more about recognizing activities that you simply enjoy, want to do, and have some internal and intrinsic motivation to go after already, and then removing the distractions there. Because you're already being guided by your spirit, by what you're interested in. You're already predisposed to conquering the adversity that's inherent in that particular challenge, like whatever it is. And so you don't need the distractions. You're kind of already alerted to the fact you don't need the distractions, and that this is a place for you to acquire some type of a void, to use Murakami's language. So number one, recognize the proper activity. We're going to refine number one. Recognize the proper activity where you don't need distractions and remove any distraction from your thinking process. And a distraction is simply external stimulation. Any external stimulation. Number two, cultivate your environment. It's very difficult for me to meditate on a treadmill, even though running is where I go to find this meditative space. Why? The environment is not conducive to it. If I'm on a treadmill, I need to motivate myself to move because it's this artificial environment that I don't enjoy, right? So even though I love running, if I'm on a treadmill, 10 times out of 10, you'll find me with music blaring, okay? But I hardly ever run on a treadmill. Where do I run? Outside. In nature. Conducive to thinking, conducive to reflecting, conducive to meditation. Cultivate your environment. Do whatever you need to provide that sanctuary space where your mind can be free to wander. Like, you don't see people meditating in the middle of a busy street for good reason. So it's very similar with exercise. Cultivate the right environment. And then number three, detach. Detach from expectations on what has to happen. Realistically, allow the brain to go wherever it wants to go, wherever it needs to go. Now that it's freed up, entertain those thoughts of, I want to quit. This hurts. This sucks. Interrogate it. Don't feel as if the moment it's thought, it must be. It's just one of those clouds that passes through the brain. Question, interrogate, be curious. Why do you think I want to quit? Is this really a pain that's going to get worse? Or if I just grit it out for another minute, will it go away? That thing that I've been putting off, contemplating, it seems to be bubbling up really hard now that I've taken away all the distractions. So detach. Don't allow the thoughts to dominate. Don't allow the thoughts to rule. Don't allow the emotions or the things that bubble up from the surface be the definition. It's just simply information. It's just simply an experience. Now, the recurring ones, the repeating ones, the ones that are loud, the ones that are seemingly highlighted in bold and underlined in red, that's where you pay attention. But you don't know that until you detach from all the other ones that are allowed to just come in and come right out. Come in and come right out. And the fact that you're in motion while this is happening, well, the body and the mind work together. So the fact that I'm in motion means the mind and the thoughts are in motion too, and they're not going to stick around if they're not this powerful internal signal. So detach. So the 3 pieces of advice for you to think about when you want to think when you're running or exercising. Enjoyment, environment, detaching. Right? And that's it. And if you follow that, you're going to experience such a meaningful and gratifying way to move your body that is going to be freeing you up. It's going to be lifting anxiety, dissolving depression, calibrating you to purpose and meaning, fortifying your courage to face adversity, to do the hard things in life as you do the hard things in fitness. And who wouldn't want something like that as opposed to another podcast or some more randomly generated music? Just so you can have a BPM that matches the beat so that you don't have to think about controlling your own heart rate and your own cadence as you're running. We're not interested in that. We're interested in utilizing the training to figure out the truth. And if all I'm doing is blocking off my internal signal with external distractions and ways for me to forget about the activity that I'm doing so I can just get through it and get it over with, well, then I'm never going to get the value out of fitness and exercise that I could be doing. And wouldn't that be a real shame? Because you're working so hard, wouldn't you want to get the greatest of all the treasures that you can obtain from doing the work? I do. And that's why I think a lot, or not, while I'm running. So I hope that answered your question. All the people who always ask me what I think about when I'm running for 2 hours in the woods. It's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of nothing. It's a little bit about the effort. It's a little bit not about the effort. But I know for sure what I am not doing. Blocking it with distractions. And that's the most important part. Happy training. Peace and love, beautiful people. I will talk to you in the next one.